Welcome to the 231st episode of News Dump, where we run through the hottest topics in the Lewis County news scene and discuss. I'm local man Aaron VanTuyl, joined by Chronicle executive editor Eric Schwartz. We're also joined in spirit by sponsors Summit Funding, Shalis Outfitters, and the Roof Doctor. Our first preamble, Easter occurred. How was your Easter experience?
It was great. I went to church. I'm sure you did too, right?
Everybody has their own church, you know?
I see. So you stayed home alone and miserable like on most holidays?
I went and played a round of golf, and then I had lunch with the family.
Oh. We did a little Easter egg hunt in the front yard. And
how many eggs did you find?
I didn't find any. And then, let's see. Oh, we watched my favorite Easter movie, Signs.
Is that an Easter movie?
No.
I mean, it's kind of,
No.
it could. You never know.
No.
M. Night Shyamalan crammed some symbolism in there.
Wanted to watch that with the kids. They enjoyed it. Yeah, it was fun. It was good.
All right.
Were the Stations of the Cross? Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, Stations of the Cross. They performed them in Centralia.
Yeah. It's always a spectacle right over here at St. Mary's Catholic Church. Owen went over there and took some photos.
Mm-hmm. The one thing the Bible says is if you're going to be religious, be performative about it.
Yeah.
That's one of the rules, right?
It's in there. Owen threw in a little brief history of the Stations of the Cross into our coverage as well, describing how it came to be and whatnot. But yeah, it's only the second time since like 2020. COVID took the Stations of the Cross from us, like so many other things.
Well, now it's back, and they've got a
jacked
Jesus up on the cross.
I thought for sure rather than say back, you'd say it has been resurrected.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. It lay dormant for 3 years, but now, behold, hark.
Hark. Word doesn't get used enough.
Also, on a similar note, R.I.P. to the Pope.
Yeah. Yeah, he got one last Easter in, at least.
Met with J.D. Vance and was like, I've seen enough.
We actually replace editors here the same way as the Pope. So when I am gone, you will have to stand outside and wait until you see a white puff of smoke come out.
Oh, I'm going to be holding the conclave inside. I'm going to be doing the lobbying, whipping votes into shape.
For this building, you know, if a white puff of smoke comes out, it's an electrical fire. That is not meant to be.
All right, should we go to news?
I had one other preamble, and that is that, you know, Aaron, when they talked about increasing the gas tax, I didn't really say much because I don't drive much.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about increasing the property tax. I didn't say much because I don't really pay our bills. My wife does.
Uh-huh.
But now, Aaron, they are taxing Zyns. Zyns nicotine pouches, and I am drawing a line in the sand, and I'm saying no more.
It's inconceivable.
Anyone who would like to join me, I will be in Olympia, ready to throw my Zyns into the water. I'm not doing that.
Hands off my Zyns.
I'd actually just wait till everybody threw their Zyns, and I'd go grab them. But yeah, Zyns are going to go up from like $6 to like $11 or $12.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a sturdy tax.
They're taxing everything, man.
Yeah, jeez.
It's crazy. There's like 5 things in this room that will be taxed.
Is it that wouldn't cut out a Chronicle boy?
The booze will be taxed.
Uh-huh.
Tech companies will be taxed. Everybody's getting taxed.
Yeah.
Session wraps up on what, Sunday?
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday, so the legislative news will be going wild. But I am upset about the Zen tax. I think that's gotten a lot of people to quit smoking and vaping. And
now they're going to have to go back to
then
smoking.
You're going to make
and
it more expensive than smoking. No, I think a lot of people will be ordering their Zins across state lines now.
Yeah, probably.
And I am a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, you know, everybody has to find their own way to deal with hardship.
Oh, man.
And yours is to go on the internet and search, where can I get cheap tobacco alternatives?
I blame the Dems.
You know who else blames the Dems?
Who?
John Braun.
Oh, he always blames the Dems.
A stunning failure. Braun blasts House Democrats after bill to address crowding and safety at Green Hill School fails to get a vote. This was going to give more options to DCYF to move offenders out of Green Hill, either to community programs or DOC facilities. They could either go straight to jail, pretty much.
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Braun says, the fact that this bill didn't even receive a vote in the House after passing unanimously in the Senate is a dereliction of duty by House Democrats and the Speaker. Washington already has closed 2 juvenile rehabilitation facilities. The new facility in Aberdeen, months away from being operational. Cut to Jim Walsh going, oh, I fear it's quite operational.
But it's not. They can't find workers out there.
It's
no problem.
Sounds like a Walsh
lazy Grace Harbor County people, if you know what I mean.
Unlikely to resolve the crisis without legislative action. It will remain unmanaged and unmanageable and unsafe. Hard to believe the Democrats, who Braun is blasted as being the scourge of the earth in his column in this newspaper every week for years now, didn't line up to move this bill. He really wanted to help a facility in his hometown. Who would have thought?
That's nonsense. That is one of your worst takes you've ever had.
Sometimes I go over to my neighbors.
Unanimous in the Senate.
I go over to my
That
neighbors
means all
and
the
I'm like,
Dems.
hey, dipshits, you guys are real losers and I hate everything you do. And then my house caught fire and I was like, help, help. And they're like, no, we can't hear you.
Your reasoning makes no sense whatsoever. The Senate passed it unanimously. It means every Democrat voted for it in the Senate. What's happening in the House is they're too busy trying to raise taxes on everything, or having to because of the $15 billion deficit that I believe no more than 3 months ago you were claiming didn't exist.
I was not
and it was
claiming
at
it didn't
$5 billion
exist.
then, and you were like, oh, a projected budget shortfall. And now here we sit, pants around our ankles, owing $16 billion.
And you're going to pay for it all with Zins.
With my sins. It's outrageous. No, but the Green Hill thing affects everyone. It's the only max security facility in the state for juveniles. So if you have a kid in your life that gets in trouble, they're going there. Beyond that, the entire workforce, we read about it all the time. Our readers read about it all the time. Like, staffers are getting forgive my French, but they're getting the shit beat out of them on a semi-regular basis. Like, kids are overdosing. Like, it is a horrible situation. Everybody agrees that it's a horrible situation. So I could get the frustration that the bill passes out of the Senate. You think smooth sailing. Our legislative reporter thinks there's a way that it could be revived. I don't know that I agree with him. But no, I think you're wrong. Also, Brown's only been writing a column for about a year now.
It's been longer than that.
Not years.
I would be interested. How many Democrat bills did Braun vote for?
Braun votes for Democrat bills. Go look. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that you often want to project the national Republican stance on
Just the Jim Walsh
state
stance.
Republicans
Just the
here.
Jim Walsh stance.
No, I just don't. I think if you look, there's a lot of, especially in the state legislature, most of everything that comes out is bipartisan. And aside, you take out the taxes and social issues and things like that, most of it just goes. Transportation budget.
All of that legislature outside of taxes and social
Capital
issues.
budget.
Yeah.
Those are both bipartisan.
No, it would be good for this to get a vote.
Yeah, they
agree.
got to fix it. I do think the Aberdeen thing will help. Obviously, having more space should help. Last I heard, they're not having much success getting a workforce out there. Which is kind
Everybody,
of weird.
I can't, everybody in Aberdeen, that's what they're always saying. Like, too employed.
Grays Harbor County usually is towards the highest unemployment. It's been like that forever. So that did surprise me. These would probably be decent jobs, right? I would assume.
Yeah, they're not like minimum wage. They're like full time. You could make a career out of it.
Yeah, you could. You
might not be happy all the time.
Support a
but
family, maybe.
What working man is.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Right.
Lots of legislative stories like this. Such and such bill died will be coming out in the next short amount of time.
Right.
We've got a whole stack of them.
Yeah. Okay. Next item. I think that's the only legislature adjacent thing we've got on the slate.
That's why I wanted to get my complaining out of the way early.
Get your digs in now.
Yeah.
You know what you could spend to purchase some Zins? Tiger Bucks.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Centralia High School builds a Tiger Bucks incentive program to promote positive behaviors. They started it last year. It allows district staff to award a paper Tiger Buck to students they see upholding positive values and, doing nice stuff. They can cash those in at a biweekly store set up in the school's auditorium, which also enters students into drawings for staff-donated prizes like Nike gift cards, headphones, catered lunches, and more. I have to ask, what would you reward your staff with Cronbucks for, and what could they purchase with those Cronbucks?
Before I go there, I thought, as soon as I read this story, if you're really trying to get at the problem kids, the ones that are acting up, they might have some issues with, I don't know, vaping, maybe marijuana smoking. What if you had a upper tier of stuff that you could buy? Marijuana, vapes, that kind of thing. But you put the money up so high that it's very unlikely they'll ever get there, like a top tier carnival prize option.
You think it's just it's
you'd have to get all of the circulating Tiger Bucks to even get close to that.
Even sniff to buy that ounce up on the top shelf.
You might settle down some of your worst kids, but Cronbucks, what would I do? I don't know. Time off, I guess. Trips to East County. They always want to do that.
How would you give them out for catching a good error on the proofing table, a good sunset photo, writing a story that needs no edits, writing a sick headline?
That would be good. Yeah. I mean, all of that. It would be pretty arbitrary, and I'd kind of just do a, making it rain situation.
You'd give them all to Cody all the time.
Oh, Cody would probably be the wealthiest of our journalists. A soft spot for
Poor
the boy.
Ridley would be like, "Can I have a Cronbuck?" He'd be like, "No."
We should get Cronbucks. I like that idea.
Yeah, talk to Chad. I'm sure he's...
All you can buy with it is Chronicle merchandise, though. Chronicle swag.
That high-priced Chronicle swag on the shelf in the back.
Yeah, we do have a whole rack of it back there. Yeah, we haven't had an update to that in a while.
No, I'm sure there's one coming. Maybe with some News Dump hoodies. Long promised News Dump hoodies. We've been promising them since like episode 10. Yeah. We're on episode 230 now.
Some people are making their own, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Next item. No joking here. I just want you to give me a quick breakdown on, quote, "This is the worst case I've ever witnessed. Thurston County officials detail ongoing investigation of a Tenino woman's murder." I haven't been following this beyond just seeing the headlines. What happened?
So the victim is 82-year-old Marcia Norman, lived in the McIntosh Lake area just north of Tenino.
Okay.
You drive alongside it if you're going to
Rainier.
Rainier.
Yeah, to Rainier.
Yeah, it's right out there. Her handyman was Jeffrey Ziz, 47. He had previously been convicted of child molestation. The initial story from the Olympian indicated it was his own children who were the victims in that case. He got what the commenters and what I personally would say is a very soft sentence with a lot of probation. So he's reestablished himself. Obviously, handyman was working for this woman. She went missing earlier this month. He was the last person to meet with her, and of course, he denied it. Initially, the sheriff's office got him caught in a lie at some point, and he basically absconded to Montana with his roommate's truck. Hit an elk while he was over there. We learned that in the charging documents, so his vehicle was disabled. And they arrested him in Missoula on a probation violation, essentially, and he was extradited back here. And then last week, news broke from the sheriff's office that Marcia Norman's remains were found partially encased in concrete under a recently constructed shed that Jeffries had been working on in Olympia. And then over the weekend, it was announced that he will be charged with murder, and then that happened yesterday. Sheriff Derek Sanders, the coroner, and the prosecutor all got together for a news conference after the court hearing, laying out details. And as the headline says, the coroner specifically, Gary Warnock, says the worst case he's ever witnessed. If you read the story, we have two stories, one on the court case and one on the news conference. You'll see why, but just a horrible way for this woman who, by all accounts, was very active, had plans, and was taken advantage of and murdered. One of the most shocking things for me in the court docs was that Jeffries had come to her home once at midnight, not too long ago, before this whole thing, and was at her bedside, like rubbing her shoulder when she woke up. And she told him that was inappropriate, never to do that again, and to leave, but did not call the cops. Told a family member about it, and that was it. And he continued to be her handyman, and allegedly, of course, because everything's alleged, but it sure looks like he took advantage of that and murdered her.
Pretty terrible.
Blunt force to the head was the cause of death. Penetrating injuries. She was alive for a while. It looks like she was restrained. They also found a 5-page letter that Jeffries had allegedly written about his plan to burglarize and sexually assault a customer. He didn't put a name in it. It just said customer. Sheriff Sanders was very clear that it doesn't appear she was sexually assaulted. She was murdered.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. He's facing charges, has been charged, is in jail, and they set no bail, so there's no chance of him getting out until his case is resolved.
Terrible.
That's where we're at. Yeah,
terrible.
Horrible. One of the worst murders we've had here in a long time. Obviously, tons of media attention on it up there. We don't get news conferences around here almost ever.
No.
I think the last one in Thurston County was when the guy admitted to killing Nancy Moyer, later recanted. That's the only other one I can think of for Thurston County, and gosh, I don't think we've ever had one down here. But yeah, horrible case, and her family's obviously destroyed by this, and yeah, that's where we're at.
Okay.
I got an email from the county. I don't know exactly who it was. Maybe a victim advocate, just asking. I'm looking at the TV stations on this because I know we didn't do it, and then other newspapers I know didn't. Somebody's been flying drones over her house and taking pictures, and they asked for that to stop and to take down the photos.
They should.
Pretty invasive.
All right. Next item. We're going to move on from that. Thurston County student details nightmare hiking trip to Coldwater Lake. This is the Dylan Reuben King story about a Rainier track girl who went hiking with a friend and got a little lost. I assume this is the kind of thing that Rubes gets because he's been the premier Rainier track rider for a while now.
Yeah, I don't know. We got this story. I ran it from the News Tribune with some info from the Cowlitz County Sheriff's Office when it happened, and then he came into the office and was like, hey, one of the Rainier girls was one of those, and she's willing to tell a story. And I was like, great. He is guilty here, or I'm charging him with first-degree burying of the lead because I feel like that cougar should have been close to the top. He just followed them for a long time and was like pacing back and forth.
Yeah, conveniently, their phones were dead by then, and they couldn't get a picture.
Oh, you don't believe that there was a cougar at
maybe it was
Coldwater
just
Lake?
a dog.
You are skeptical about the weirdest of things. Just like you'll accept lies wholesale as long as you agree with them, and then you'll just take one little point.
I'm the modern media consumer.
Maybe they ran into Ed Orcutt while they were out there, too.
Maybe they
were like,
did.
you know what, Ed? We want those pheasants off that farm.
And he was like, nobody will ever believe you. Have you been out to Coldwater Lake before?
Oh, yeah, lots of times.
I've been out to Coldwater Peak, but not the lake.
I was a little confused how you get lost at Coldwater Lake because doesn't the trail just circumnavigate the lake? So once you didn't see the lake, you should probably know that you're going the wrong way.
Yeah, I thought Coldwater Lake was like before you got to the visitor center and all that.
It is. It's like you
Yeah.
can still reach it now, obviously. You can't get to the Johnston Ridge Observatory. It's like kind of right near the Hummocks Trail, if you've ever gone on that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been out there. I haven't gone to Coldwater Lake though.
Yeah, it's.
All right.
I mean, there's a short little nature trail there that we'll usually take the kids to, but then there is another trail, and when I see it, it looks like it just goes all the way around the lake. I must be ignorant. I should look it up and educate myself.
But yeah, they were talking about it was like a 10-mile hike, and I was like, maybe were they talking about Spirit Lake or something? I don't know.
No. There's
All right.
lots of places out there. But yeah, the cougar. Yeah, I got to that part of the story, and I was like 3/4 done. And I was like, Dylan, my man.
Yeah,
I did move it. I should
could
have.
make a Jack London short story out of this.
I think it was one of those cases where he was like, I know this girl is a Rainier track athlete who jumps hurdles. Being lost on a trail is a hurdle. And then he couldn't get past it.
Yeah,
It was fine. It was a good story. Dylan's doing great work for us. I'm just giving him a hard time.
it was something different to see. Next item. Pacific Northwest doo-doo crew cuts the ribbon in Chehalis. It wouldn't be News Dump if we didn't discuss a mobile dog shit picking up business. This is owned by Tatiana Yoakum, and they serve Lewis and parts of Thurston County. And I liked in the story where they're like, look, we don't judge.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a mess, we'll come clean it up. Like, that's fine.
I'm curious on the pricing, what it would be. My son, I'm sure, would love to have someone else be responsible for the dog crap in the backyard.
Do you think it's like they have to get there and take a look, and they're like, all right, here's our quote. Like, you've got a lot of dog shit out here.
I was curious. Maybe I didn't know. Do they weigh it like at the end? Like, are you paying like by sheer amount of dog crap?
I don't know.
They also say, no job too big or too small, so you can just call them for anything. As far as I can tell, it's just a one-woman business at this point.
Uh-huh.
We were discussing this. I don't know how you scale this business up. More poop picker-uppers, I guess.
You get a lot of people. Yeah, you just farm out some of your work to.
And we haven't really done a story. This is just from the chamber's information that they sent us. The other thing I was curious is where's all this poop going?
Good question.
Where's she taking the poop?
Somebody else's yard, probably.
Yeah, now that's a business model. You take the poop and you put it in someone else's yard with a business card.
Yeah, throw a car. Oh
Take care
boy,
of
so you
this.
got some dog shit in your yard. They're like, I don't even have a dog. And you're like, call me. All right, next up, nominees line up for vacant seat on Lewis County PUD Commission. The nominees are Frank Corbin, who's a local political guy around, kind of. He's like the people you may know of local politics.
He was involved with the broadband action team as well. I'm pretty positive.
He got 8 nominations. Jeff Bain, who's chairman of the Lewis County Broadband Action Team. Former PUD commissioner and chairman of the Economic Alliance of Lewis County, Ben Kostick. I think he's like an accountant. Toledo resident Pharaoh Skinner. Based on that name, he's got my vote. Chehalis resident Tim Wilson. And then Centralia College trustee Chris Thomas. Oh, never mind. He's got my vote. Chris Thomas, who's nominated by former Lewis County PUD Commissioner Ed Rothland. Whoever gets the seat takes over for Michael Kelly and has to promise not to bribe anyone, not to even try to bribe anyone, allegedly. Who do you got? Who's your money on?
Dave Muller's the other one you left off. He was nominated.
Was he in there? He was the former director, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's listed separately. He was nominated by the 2 remaining commissioners, so Hadler and Dave Fenn.
Well, they're kind of putting their thumb on the scale.
I don't know. I like Dave Muller a lot. He was always
he was
nothing
good.
but helpful and responsive to me when I was a
Never
reporter.
once accused of taking a bribe.
Not to, no. Yeah, that should probably be the first question. Have you ever taken a bribe or offered one?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they should do the interview process like they go down to the limit.
The mead.
Meet us at the
mead
limit.
bar.
If you take this job, I'll give you a 4% raise.
Wait. This feels like a trick. All right, and then the last news item I've got: new roof nearly complete on old Yardbird shopping mall. No decision yet on building's next use, owner says. This is Doug LeMay and his LLC, which purchased Yardbirds last July. Lots of people thought they'd tear it down, but not so fast. They're putting a roof on it first. LeMay said he expects the restoration process to take about 2 years. Some ideas floated for what to do with the property include a lot of car-related activities or dealerships, storage, modular homes, a movie theater, and a movie theater in there. What a plan.
Mm-hmm.
A community center or warehousing. Do you feel like this is just a ruse? Like that you have to know what you're doing with it before you buy like Yardbirds and put a roof on it.
Yeah, what was the price too? It was like, is it 2.4 million or something like
It's
that?
a lot of money.
It was a big chunk of change.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I've thought that as well. I think at the very least the partners, but we've been talking to Doug LeMay, that they've got a general idea what they're going to, and I would assume that you're correct and they probably have something very specific, but
yeah.
In this case, I appreciate them giving us a call back. There's nothing that obligates them to do that, and kind of give us a brief update, at least to say that the roof is done. It does look nice. The roof looks nice.
I, for one, would simply not put a roof on a building if I didn't know what the roof was protecting. Unless let's call our friends at the Roof Doctor.
Yeah,
that whole news item, just to get to this bit. Is your roof under the weather? Call our friends at the Roof Doctor in Chehalis, where they are anxiously awaiting your house call. You can visit them online at theroofdoctor.com. Click the big, fat, get a free estimate button. Oh, they've even got a drop shadow on that bad boy when you hover over it. Beautiful work. Sign up to get your free estimate. Schedule that estimate. Peruse all their options for what they could do to your roof. New roofing, re-roofing, roof repairs, roof cleaning, emergency roofing, solar. What if they just caked the Yardbirds with solar panels up top?
Yeah, it seems like
just an energy hub.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. So long, Transalta. We got it covered now with these solar panels.
I've just learned Roof Doctor has a 4.7 out of 5 stars on Angie's list.
You know what?
Which is very important to me.
Too low. It should be higher.
It should be higher. I don't know what was wrong. They don't have any 2 or 1% reviews, but
a lot of people must have mistakenly clicked 3.
Yeah. It's rated quality though. So
give the Roof Doctor a call at 360-736-0246 or 669-2099. Any other news you want to hit?
You can do a Cronline rundown at the end is fine with me.
All right.
Hi, this is Jeff and Julie from Fairway Lanes.
Jeff and I met JSIC of Summit Funding at our bowling center, so when we fell in love with this community and it was time to relocate, we knew we would be calling Summit Funding.
They understand that everyone has a unique situation when buying a home.
He had already helped 2 of our employees get into their own homes. The Summit Funding team exceeded our expectations. It was a seamless experience with great communication from his whole team.
Thank you to Summit Funding for making our buying experience special and memorable.
All right, we're back from break. It's time for segments. And first up is Tales from the Takes page. The first one we've got here is Julie McDonald talking about a speaker who focused on World War II and touring tulip fields and Titanic artifacts. Quote from the column. So when I learned that former journalist, historian, and author Sig Unadander of Portland would be speaking on that topic a week ago, I joined Edna Fund and my sister at McMenamin's Olympic Club Theater for dinner and an informative evening presentation. He spoke about 7 years ago in Centralia and the Columbus Day storm. Just dropping names in there, hanging out with Edna Fund.
I mean, she got into the Klebers too, the local hop farmer who died in the Titanic.
Oh, right. Okay.
She got to there. There's basically 2 columns baked into that. Julie will do that every once in a while. It's kind of like, this is what I've been doing this week. That's newsworthy.
There was a local guy that went all the way across the country to die on the Titanic.
Yeah, you've never heard of it? I think it's Herman Kleber, I think.
Huh.
Namesake of that Kleber area. He owned the giant hops farm out there in the Boistert Valley. Mm-hmm. Very, very wealthy. And yes, he was on the Titanic and died. There wasn't enough room on the door.
How did he get all the way to the East Coast?
He swam there, Aaron. I don't know.
Well, did he take a train, or did he take a steamer all the way down and around and been like, here we go?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It might be in the column. You could try reading some of our content before you have a take on it.
I copy and pasted some of it onto here. What else is going on the opinion page? Anything I would find... Should we just read some headlines?
Hit some letters. We got MGP should apologize to fellow Congresswoman. This letter writer thinks that her vote to censure Rashida Tlaib and one other member of Congress from her own party something she should apologize for based on what's happened in Gaza. We've got laws should require pastors and clergy to report abuse of children, which that law passed, but I was a little behind on letters, so I wanted to go ahead and get it in there. We no longer live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. This person's not a huge fan of Donald Trump.
Oh.
John Braun, who you have talked about. Make the wealthy pay, Democrats say, while they come for your money.
Why won't they vote on my
bill?
bill?
They could persuade me just by dropping the Zyn tax, you know?
Yeah, that would definitely make the difference.
Why transparency matters when everything is on the line in Olympia. It's a Peter Abarna write-up.
I read this column. I didn't see a lot about transparency specifically.
What does it mean to be a Republican? I'm sure you read that one as well. That's from local Republican Party chairman, Mitchell Townsend.
Oh, boy. There's no... Never mind.
We got Mossy Rock levee passage on Alaska. Tonight is the special election. There's levees in Mossy Rock on Alaska and Winlock. Mm-hmm. And then also one for Morton's Fire District, trying to pass a bond to get a new fire station out there. So check on that. Taxing everything in sight must come to an end. Oh, we already did that, John McCroskey.
We talked about that last week.
I have another John McCroskey lined up for Thursday, though, so we can talk about that.
Oh, what's he talking about?
Don't know. I think he was talking about the Crater Lake newt that has led to a lawsuit against the Trump administration.
Are you sure he's not talking about that transgender dart thrower in the UK that had everybody up in an uproar?
It did it? I've seen nothing of this.
It was it a dart thrower?
You're speaking from your bubble again.
No, it was the lead story on Fox News. I'm surprised you didn't see it.
You
watch it with your
watch
breakfast
Fox
every
News?
day. No, I see Reddit recaps of Fox News, obviously. All right, People's Champion of the Week. We've got a few on here. WF West High School alum donates stem cells to blood cancer patient in Italy.
That was a good one.
Cameron Amoroso, who heard about donating stem cells when he was playing football at PLU from his coach. That was a good one. We've got Chehalis woman Jessica Parent, who is in the running for an international singing competition. She's a 2010 WF West grad. She's been invited to enter an international Christian singing competition called You, God's Music. She's a wife and mother, too, with a YouTube channel, and she's on the streamers. She sang Count My Blessings in her entry. And then we've got Lewis County Clerk's Office staffer Ruth Allison, who is retiring after 25 years of service with the county.
Yeah, those are all three good. I think Cameron Amoroso is probably my pick.
He is the leader in the clubhouse for sure.
The singing competition, you can vote on that to keep her going in the competition. So I went to look. I was like, you got to vote for the local person. And then I realized you have to pay for your votes in that. It's $1 per vote.
A poll tax?
It's $1.
Un-American.
It's $1 per vote and a 5-vote minimum.
I don't know that I like that.
I know some of the money to the winner will go to them. Some will go to their church. Sure, a little get pinched off along the way. Huh. No, I don't know that part.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I have not seen that in one of those competitions before, so we'll see how that goes. I'm sure we'll have
congratulations,
a
Cameron Amoroso, for donating stem cells. That's important. Sirens Banger of the Week. This one was kind of an easy pick. PO man charged with hate crime after he allegedly threatened to kill a police officer in Centralia. This is Colton Calabaugh. The cops are looking for him on a hit and run up in the Wanch Prairie and found him, and he was pretty drunk. When they were talking to him, he refused to talk to Officer Parsons, who is Asian, and then started yelling racist comments at him. They got him to the hospital, and he was acting a fool there, too. He threatened and pushed Officer Parsons and told him if he didn't have cuffs on, he would be a bitch on the ground, and said, I got about 6 hot leads here that said you would be, which sounds like a threat to shoot somebody. Mm-hmm. He has since been charged with 1 count each of a hate crime, felony harassment, obstructing a law enforcement officer, DUI, hit and run, and third-degree driving with a suspended license. The comment sections had some thoughts, and most of them were from the usual Back the Blue crowd, who were insistent that he's actually a nice kid from a good family. He's 27 years old, and none of the harassment was actually a crime. Curious. We'll get to that in a minute. What are your thoughts on shouting racial slurs at police officers who are arresting you for a crime you probably committed?
Not a fan. I back the charging decision here, especially if you're one of the other cops that's there and you're seeing your colleague and coworker just getting verbally berated on racial grounds. That tends to make me really upset.
Yeah, like look, you can get away with calling a cop like a pig or something. Like when you're getting arrested for a crime you probably committed. You know, like they know. They're like, all right, we get it. Like we're taking you to jail. Just calm down.
Yeah, like when Derek Sanders was here, he was talking about some of his favorite, funniest things is the insults he gets shouted
Yeah,
at.
you know, I think they have a sense of humor about that. But when you get into the racial stuff, like what do you realize where you are in this exchange, right? You are not in a position of power here.
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
And the black eye he was sporting in his mugshot perhaps speaks to that. Maybe he fell down. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, according to the charging documents, he was throwing himself around quite a bit, and I'm sure there was some engagement with the officer since there's that assault charge in there. I don't know. In my experience, alcohol can bring a lot out of somebody. But it's not stuff that's not already there. Like,
Yeah.
that tends to be the case. In my experience, is if you suddenly have racist thoughts, they're not racist thoughts that go away when you don't drink alcohol. You're just maybe not as boisterous about them.
Probably not the first time you had him. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
I was surprised. I don't read the comments, as you know, or try not to unless something is brought to my attention.
But today you'll hear
I
the
didn't
best
know.
of them.
Yeah, that people were rallying to his defense. That's a little disappointing.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about Shayla's Outfitters?
Yeah, hold on. A couple other sirens items. We had bail set at $100,000 for PL man accused of fleeing police with baby, teenagers, and a gun in the
Different
vehicle.
PL man.
Different PL man.
Tough week for PL.
Yeah, there's a high-speed chase all around. The story's up on Cronline now, but after he ditched the car, everybody ran from the vehicle except for one person, one of the teenagers. He literally grabbed the baby and ran with the baby.
Is it his baby?
I mean, you'd be just as much critical of him if he'd left the baby in there because it's a horrible thing to run from the cops, period, but with a baby in your car while you're allegedly drunk.
Let's not.
another
Running
thing.
from the cops is an American tradition.
This guy has done it quite a few times.
Running
so
from the cops and leaving your own baby in the car is
traditionalist. Yeah, it's all pretty heinous. And then we also had renters face felony charges for allegedly causing $5,000 in damage to an Airbnb in Lewis County. They also allegedly stole $2,500 worth of items. When they were contacted by deputies, they said that they tried to book more time there, and the transaction didn't go through before they left. And they said that they would have cleaned it up. They didn't steal anything. That stuff's just missing.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one. Anyways, just go on. We can talk about Shayla's Outfitters now. Let me get to the ad.
I'm
here.
pulling up their Easter sale, which is ongoing through April 30th.
Oh, what a great company. Celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ throughout the entire month.
You know what? It's a month worth of Easter deals.
What do we got?
They got all kinds of good stuff here. What is this stuff? It comes in a bag. Looks pretty good. Ooh, Bug Clear Lawn Insect Killer. That's a must. That keeps moles out of your yard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
$9.95 for a bag of that. You get to pick yourself up a garden weasel, weed popper, claw tiller, cultivator, and edger. 20% off those bad boys. Buy one, get one free on Mountain Ops, which is like a single-serving hydration trail packs.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds pretty good. Hummingbird feeders, $16.95. That's a steal.
Oh, you can get your aluminum clam gun, Willapa brand, $69.95. I didn't know there
Willapa
was a
brand,
Willapa
eh?
brand. Yeah, it says Willapa aluminum clam gun.
I wonder where they
$69.95.
make those bad boys.
WDFW just announced the last digs of the year coming up pretty soon in May. Another opening this week, I believe, maybe into next week.
I kind of want to go. I haven't been clam digging in a while.
Yeah, it'll be fun. You can get a director chair with a table, $29.95. Ooh, tarps.
cool.
If anything,
Tarps?
if someone were to borrow your tarps and not return them, you could go restock up on tarps, 25% off.
My tarps, definitely. Oh, they got G-Shock watches. Those are cool.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I didn't see any guns, though. There's a gun safe.
No, well, I'm sure the guns are always on sale over at Shayla's Outfitters.
Oh, sure.
Hey, they've got, you wouldn't know anything about this, but they got full blue shorts on sale.
Ooh.
Of no use to you, but they do have pants as well.
I wear pants. Upcoming events at Shayla's Outfitters on May 9th. They'll have a Build-A-Basket clinic. Pick out your favorite flowers and container. They will supply the dirt and hands to plant them. United Way Dolly Day of Lewis County on May 17th. Come join the fun as Shayla's Outfitters help support the Imagination Library with a live radio remote. Demonstration canning sonar on May 31st, and then looking all the way out until June 21st, they're going to have their 4th anniversary celebration, and I think we're going to have Kelly, store
Yeah, we
manager
will.
Kelly Urban for
We
that.
should probably record live from the site.
Yeah, live.
Yeah.
Anyway, located Sunbird Shopping Center.
1757 at North National Avenue in Chehalis. All right, Facebook comments of the week. These were on the latest Trump protest in Olympia on Saturday. This commenter says, the media, hence the Chronicle, perpetuate, he spelled perpetuate wrong, anti-Trumpism. As I look at most, quote, stuff, follow the money. How much are you getting paid to be a lib cock?
I don't know, man. That was pretty low effort. Our reporter happened to have been around and took some photos. I think that we have one cut line for 3 photos in print and then the same cut line for all of them there. We try to cover all the protests.
Also, there was a lot of get a job posts for something that took place on a Saturday.
Yeah, a holiday weekend as well.
Yeah. All right. On Providence Hospital doing a hiring freeze, this commenter just said, oh no, the Kevorkian Hotel might close. I just haven't heard a Jack Kevorkian reference in a long time.
I haven't heard of Jack Kevorkian, yeah.
What a pull by that guy.
I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't even get the reference.
No. Let's see. On a story about melting ice and a gray whale washing up in an unusual place, man, the commenters were furious about this. It's all a hoax. It's all
the whale thing?
Yes. It's all fake. Climate change is fake. This is just nothing. Anyway, this guy
we
says...
have a lot of scientists that read the Chronicle.
That's true. Marine biologist, really. I sure wish I paid to get the Chronicle so I could cancel the subscription. Getting close to unfollowing it. And then a bunch of people calling the Chronicle woke for running a story about science.
Well, that's why I don't really read the comments, I guess. That was a Seattle Times story, I think.
No, you personally wrote it.
No, we run stories.
You dyed your hair blue,
outlets.
And then you threw your Bible in the garbage, and you're like, it's time to get woke, and you wrote about a whale.
I didn't even think that story was it wasn't like a climate change story. It was like these whales are dying, and here's why we think.
Check yourself, cuck. You were incorrect. All right, Siren on the Sirens Banger of the Week story. These are some heaters. I know for a fact Colton is not racist. My kids are Asian and they all grew up together. Okay. This guy says his career in PL was just taking off. He was up for Pooper Scooper of the Year. Well, there's still time. He might be racist. That's his right. And yes, you can call him whatever he wants. There is no such crime to speak words that others don't like. There is such a crime. It's called a hate crime and felony harassment. It's right there in the charges. If females can ask for a female cop, then he doesn't have to speak to any cops he doesn't want to. Not a hate crime.
Yeah,
just
it's a
because he's
little
Asian.
different, isn't it?
I don't think that's accurate. And finally, in all caps, if you don't have a track record of hating on people, that's impossible to prove in a court of law. It's settled. Alan Dershowitz here has made a flawless legal argument to set the boy free. The 27-year-old boy. Anyway, that was Facebook comments of the week.
Well.
What's in the next edition?
Let's do a little roundup. Some of this will be in this edition. Some of it will be in the next. We touched on this last week. Former Sergeant Norton Scholarship recipient reaches fundraising goal for mural restoration project. It was a follow-up on the Justin Norton mural out there in Rainier in Thurston County. Mm-hmm. It's just a brief update on that story, but it sounds like Thurston County Commissioner Wayne Fournier rallied up donations, donated some money himself. It wasn't in the story, but...
Well, he makes a lot of money,
Yeah, man. He told he donated about $1,000, pulled together some friends, and less than a week, maybe within a day or two, they had that whole thing funded at $3,000. Any extra money got?
Do you think he met with him and gave him the Bruce Wayne, like, one meeting with my buddies? You won't need another fundraiser.
Could have been, but I doubt it. Let's see. 81 roosters seized in cockfighting investigation in Oakville.
Go on.
This was something we knew about the day it happened. It was so frustrating because we couldn't get any information out of it. Open investigation, I guess. We thought Grace Harbor County Sheriff's Office was the logical person to ask or agency to ask, but this was a joint narcotics enforcement team move. So we were discussing it's now the Joint Narcotics and Poultry Enforcement Team. But yeah,
is that like a gambling violation or an animal violation?
It's a crime.
Well, is it?
Yes, it is a crime. Yeah, so there's that. That's from the Daily World. We also have lots of coverage on the 1090 murder investigation. We had a couple charges pop up this week. I only have one of the stories here. From 2018, man accused of striking someone with a metal rod in 2018 was finally arrested. We have another one coming to Cronline that I don't have yet, who was charged in 2018 as well, but he was then snatched up by ICE, and he's been in ICE custody since then. And they were trying to deport him. This is all secondhand from the reporter. I don't have the story yet. They were trying to deport him, but couldn't because they found out he has this outstanding legal issue here that he would need to serve a sentence for. But what happened was
never stopped ICE before.
He was sentenced to drug court, and they couldn't put him in drug court because he wasn't a citizen or something like that. And so they're just recharging the case. And anyways, we'll have a story on that. It could be interesting. From the Olympian, sheriff, intoxicated getaway driver crashes while fleeing scene in Rochester. This one just made me chuckle because, according to the sheriff's office, there's some gang members out in Rochester that were tagging a building or doing graffiti or something, and their knight in shining armor shows up as the cops do, the getaway driver. Mm-hmm. They all hop in, and she speeds away and drives directly into a light pole because she was drunk. And they were arrested. I mean, it just was... The speed at which it happened is what made it funny. It's like the sheriffs just watched it. And we're like, oh, no. Oh, okay, we're good.
Yeah, I think we can round them up from here.
Let's see. I mean, that's probably the long and short of it. We could leave it at that.
All right. In closing, we're sponsored by Summit Funding, Shayless Outfitters, and The Roof Doctor. Leave a review and rating on Apple Podcast if you like, or send us an email, chroniclenewsdump@gmail.com.
I'm a dirty dog. Winter came hard, yeah. She came hard.